Many of us have houseplants that we've had in our home year after year after year. And a lot of us put them outdoors after the threat of cold weather in the spring. Now, you might be one of those lucky few who have that outdoor tropical hibiscus, and maybe you brought it inside in the fall and you get a beautiful bright sunny window. It, for some of us, may still be blooming like this, but that's not common. That's sort of unusual. On the other hand, a lot of us are going to have plants that we have brought inside in the fall before really cold weather hits, and you know, we might keep them in the basement, keep them in a cold room, we might keep them in a heated garage, and they may look sort of like this. Now, this is known as Angel's Trumpet. This plant gets bigger and bigger every year. It's a beautiful hanging, either white or pink, or even red blooms. Some are single, some are double, extremely fragrant. This is a plant that in many cases loses its leaves. What do you do when it starts getting big? Well, after winter, you cut it back and it looks like this. And it will continue to grow this spring, especially after you put it outdoors. And then sometime in the summer, you're going to see these beautiful hanging flowers that are almost 10 to 12 inches long. Early spring, late winter is a great time to cut it back. Really, when you're trying to rejuvenate plants, you sort of want to cut them back before their active growing season. So if they're sort of asleep in the winter, you'll wait till winter's over and then you'll cut them back. On the other hand, there are other plants that you might consider trimming, and one of them is the Mandevilla. Mandevilla is a very popular plant that we grow outdoors in the warm months. And to really get great producing Mandevilla, it's better to have a plant that's 1, 2, 3 years old, because by the time you buy them in the spring each and every year, the plants really aren't that big. This is a plant when you bring it indoors in the fall, as with many of your plants you're trying to overwinter, you let them approach dryness. Pretty much some of them I don't even water at all. In fact, they'll lose a lot of leaves. Sometimes you won't see any leaves. Before you bring them outdoors, when temperatures warm up, like let's say 45 or 50 degrees at night, what you're going to want to do is trim it back. So you just come in here, cut it back, just like this. Try to cut back to a growing point or a bud. It will continue to grow, and it will actually grow up to another 6 feet throughout the season. Mandevilla, great plant, can handle freezing temperatures, but I like to prune them back right before you bring them outdoors in the spring. It's the best time to prune them. If you have an overgrown plant, let's say it's a fern, the best time to redivide them, or at least rejuvenate them, is in the spring. This plant has grown so much that it's bulging the pot in many areas. So just take your hands or your fist, you might even need a hammer, but you have to somehow figure out, how can I get this out of the pot? What you might find is you're going to have to take a sharp knife very carefully and just cut down the side of the pot. Just like this, so you can just pull, and you have this plant right here. A couple things you can do with this fern. The easiest and the quickest is to take another one of my favorite tools, just one of these little hand saws. And if I don't really want to redivide it, I just want to go ahead and repot it, I'll come in. And this is a saw I use just for repotting, because especially if there's gravel, you don't want to use it to trim your trees. And you just cut the bottom part. Then you take your fern and you repot it, and maybe you pot about 1 inch or 2 inches larger. And if you want to make 2 or 3 or 4 of these, you can go ahead, cut them up, and repot them in smaller parts. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.